Welcome back to Counterpoint. We're now joined by Georganne Burke and Jordan Sharon, two Canadians who are so alarmed by the rise in anti-Semitism here in Canada that they've decided to leave. Georganne, Jordan, thank you both so much for joining me. I know you both actually personally, and when you shared with me your stories, either privately or publicly, uh, I was truly shocked. So I guess I'll start with you, Georganne. How serious is the rise in anti-Semitism in Canada right now? And what do Canadians really need to understand about this troubling trend?
So I would say that it's at the very least alarming and actually also extremely disappointing and hurtful. My family and I moved to Canada voluntarily 38 years ago with my six children. My youngest was three at the time. My kids were raised in Toronto. We moved here, ironically, because of the Jewish day school system. There were many options to choose from, and we wanted our kids to get a Jewish education, and that's why we moved. We thought we were moving to the Jerusalem of the North. It was a great community to move into. Um, but one of the things that we didn't look at was that there had been a history, a sad history, and we only learned it later, of anti-Semitism in Canada that had been, in the 1930s and so forth. Didn't know about none is too many until later. So on one hand, I shouldn't be so surprised. And on the other hand, it has been very shocking to see the incredible burst of anti-Semitism since October 7th. There have been problems prior to that. I know many, many stories of parents who have their kids in public schools who have been suffering because of the anti-Semitism between students and other students, teachers and students, administrators and students, parents having very little assistance with this. That's been going on for a while. Universities have been, as you know, breeding
Mhm.
grounds for the worst of the worst. So it isn't completely shocking, but on the other hand, um, it's hurtful, it's painful.
How about you, Jordan? I mean, you grew up in Canada. You attended university in Canada. How have you seen the rise in anti-Semitism over the course of the last few decades?
So the way I would describe it is I grew up in the 80s, 90s, finishing University of Western at early 2000s as an age of innocence. I was able to live a very typical Canadian life. If it was hockey in the winters and summer camps and Algonquin, because I'm from Ontario. So I grew up like many Canadians. And yes, I had my religion and my background and beliefs that I got from my parents and so on. But at the very core, I am Canadian, and that's how I feel. But starting with October 7th and just the immediacy of the anti-Israel, anti-Jewish rhetoric, it killed that. It just destroyed that vision of I'm a Canadian as much as anyone else, and it made me really feel, and amongst my friends, to say, okay, we truly, maybe we might be Canadian because we have the passport, but we're potentially just guests in this country. And there's a timeline or a time span that's ticking. This clock is ticking is how long we can freely and easily stay. And it really harks back to a lot of the stories we would hear from my grandparents or my friends' grandparents, great grandparents about their times in Eastern Europe in the 30s and 40s. That it was a great life until it wasn't, and we're seeing that in live time right now, sadly.
And Georgian, was there a specific incident that said, you know what, enough's enough? Like, I can't do this anymore.
So actually, yes, there was a death threat, which the police are handling right now. I had a series of emails from some anonymous person that were nasty and unpleasant, but that's nothing new. I've had that happen before. But the last one was straight out a death threat. And I said, okay, I'm going to report this, but I think my time is up here.
Mhm.
I'm very public. I think you know that, Tanya.
Yes.
I'm out on social media a lot. And so it makes me a little bit more at risk than maybe the average person. But on the other hand, why should I have to be? I'm just expressing my opinion. I'm not demonizing anybody else. And to threaten my life is, I think, beyond the pale.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Nobody should have to endure that. And I know you personally; you're a very good woman. So this is atrocious, truly. Jordan, how about for you? We only have about 20 seconds. Was there a specific incident?
I think just having a family and having to decide where do I feel more comfortable. And my wife from Colombia, I thought I could maintain my daughter's youth and innocence as a Jewish person in Colombia.
Okay, we're going to pick this up in just a moment.